Hi, in this video we'll be going over the C# video tutorials. So in this video we'll be going over, we'll be continuing with arrays. So we'll write an array's content to a file. So I'm using Rider today as normal, so I'm using Rider 2023. So you can get it for free if you have a student account. Otherwise, Visual Studio is fine. It's just my computer works better with Rider. Okay, so writing an array's content to a file. So we've done this in the notes already. So we'll just do, I think we'll do a code example here. So we can pretend that we have a button. So you can just say here, button, button, points to new button. Actually, sorry, we can have button, button. I forgot my access modifier, so private button here. We can just create an object reference variable, and then in the constructor we can say button. Actually, sorry, this should be private button, button. So this is a class button, and this is the this is what I called it. This is what my object reference variable name is. So it's just button lowercase. So here we'll say button points to new button. So we'll instantiate a button. We could give a button a name. We could say button.name points to button, which will create an identifier. I think they call it an identifier in the C languages. So a variable name or an object name can be an identifier. So we can actually also create an event handler for this. So we can say button dot click. So button dot click points to new event handler, and here we can say button underscore click. Actually, sorry, this is wrong. Button dot click plus equals to new event handler. Then here we can say button underscore click. I think that's should be fine. And under the constructor, we can say that we have a click event. So here we can say, we can actually call this one OK button. So we'll just change the name to from button to OK button. So private button, OK button. And OK button points to new button. OK button dot name points to OK button. And then OK button dot click plus equals new event handler, and then passing in the parameter OK button underscore click. So then here we could have private void OK button underscore click, pass in object sender and event args e. So then now we'll get into some array stuff here. So we can have a try block. I turned off code completion and still tries to finish it. Okay, so we have try here. Then here, so to get rid of that, I'm not sure how to turn off that, but what I did was I went try, then I went down, then opened these. I want to write it myself, so I hit Control-Z, and it went back to where I finished the try. Then I'll open it and nothing happens. So then here I'll say that we have an array. So int array, for example, numbers points to, we can use in an initializing list. We can say int array numbers points to some numbers. We can give it like 5 values. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Then here we can create a stream writer object. So we'll say stream writer. I think we're going to need to add the using directive at the top for system.io. So here I'll say using system.io. So now I should be able to access the StreamWriter class. So StreamWriter output file, we'll call it. We'll create an object reference variable here. So it's a local object reference variable. Then here we'll say output file points to file dot create text. And here we could pass in a path. So I'll just pass in a Windows path here. I think we've already created a file called C# file. We can just go with data file .txt as a name. I think the path needs an @ sign. I can always check if it works after. So don't forget the @ sign in the path. I think that's how you do a C# path. So then here after that we'll loop through the file. So here we're saying output file points to file.createText. So we're calling the createText method. So it's going to create this file in whatever path that you want. So you can also just type a file name, so that'll probably put the file in your IDE, like on this folder on the left. If you're using a IDE like Visual Studio or Rider, then it'll be on the left side somewhere in your folder, which I don't do. I just use a path. So I put the file on my computer instead of in a folder in the IDE. Okay, so output file points to file.createText, so then we have this path. Now we'll loop through the file here, so we'll say for int index points to 0. Index is less than numbers.length. I++, so this is going to loop from index points to 0. Index is less than numbers.length, so what's the length? The length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to iterate from 0 to 4. Whoops, sorry, not I++, index++. I usually just stick with I. That's probably why I wrote that. So then here we'll have output file.writeLine. So remember, output file.writeLine is going to write to the file. So what do we want to write to the file? So we want to write to the file numbers of array index. This should work. I don't think we need to tag on a toString here. problems. $37. Did I have one too many? Oh, it's waiting for this catch here. Okay, so we have the for loop here. The outFile.WriteLine. Let's just go with this. We'll come back to that in a sec. So remember to close the file stream, so output file.close. Then here we'll just output a message box or a dialog box. So we'll say messagebox.show and we'll pass in like file operation complete, the string. Then below that we'll catch the exception. So we'll say catch. Here we'll say exception. We just call it EX or exception, whatever. Exception EX. I'd probably go with exception because that's the same thing from Java. I just do the same thing. It's the same syntax, so I just go with that. So exception EX, and then here we'll say message box dot show. We'll pass in here exception dot message. I believe message is a property, so there's no parentheses on the end of this, like that. I believe Java is exactly like this. Exception dot message with parentheses, and there's no capital. But in C# there's a capital and no parentheses. That should be it. So if we run this code, we should see that file. So let me just check if that's fixed now. Should be fine. I think I might have actually wrote toString here. Not sure if that would cause an error. It doesn't look like it caused an error. Because what's happening here, so write line, I guess it can write any data type. You don't have to convert it to a string. Usually a text file is like a string. It takes strings. In this case, it can take a number type because numbers is an int array, which are just storing numbers, not strings. Casting it like this to a string would have had the same effect. But remember, when you take data from a file, I believe it's a string, so we'll probably practice that again. Either way, you can use the toString method if you need to. You can check both ways. So let me just save this and run it, just to make sure the file got to the desktop, just to check. So I'm just going to save that and click the run button in the top right corner. You could do the command in the terminal as well. It's just faster to click the button. So there's a terminal here. You can type your run command if you want. Nothing's going to happen obviously in the form. So I'm just going to close the form. And I'm just going to check. Hopefully the video doesn't stop. I'm just going to check for that file. Let me just make sure that it appeared. So we called it data file. Did I say? So we call this one data file.txt. Not seeing it. Just gotta make sure I did that correct. No, it looks like there is something wrong. Let me just double check that. Let me take this @ sign out. see if that worked. I'm forgetting something here. Path. Should be okay. Let me try that one more time. I think we went over how to do a path sometime earlier on. Just need to make sure it's correct. Oh, perhaps because I didn't stop it. Maybe this one isn't updating. I can't look on my desktop because the video is going to stop, so let me just... Usually it does pop up here though. I'm not sure why that didn't pop up. Let me just check that again. Sorry about that. So we have a stream writer output file points to file.create text. We have our path. Let me just see what's up with that. Okay, so we did that sometime earlier. Wasn't in methods. Okay, I think it was recently here. Okay, list boxes, no loops, no for loop. Using files for data storage, okay. Where's the path? One sec here, pretty close to that. Just need something, perhaps it was in the notes that I had. File.create text output, stream writer output file. Output file points to file.create text, passing in the path. Why isn't that popping up? Unless because I ran out of space. I don't think I ran out of space because the video is still recording. I'm close to running out of space. But not yet. Should be somewhere here. Actually, let me just check my other notes. So I think I did an assignment on this. I have it in this folder here. Sorry about that. Okay. Save button. Alright, so we have no, that saves to a file dialog. That's not going to help. Writing numeric data, no. Should be here somewhere, unless it's just in my notes. Yeah, what I think it might be in my notes. Let me just check that. What chapter is this? Chapter 5, okay. Chapter 5, here we go. Sorry about the delay here, should have it right here. Okay, loops for file and random numbers. Sample, okay. Here we go. Using system.io, we have that right line. I remember, here we go, perfect. File.create text, C, okay, there's no double slash. I thought double slash did work. No, C, so it's @ here, we had it correct the first time. @ then string, C, shift semicolon / user / name / folder / document. That's what I have. I'm not sure why that didn't work. But they went with one what do you call it? One slash. Could that be the reason why? Oh, you know what? Sorry, I didn't click the button. That's why. My apologies. So let's actually just put this in the constructor. So yeah, the code was working. My bad. Sorry, I just woke up here. So we have all we need to do is, I mean, like I'm still waking up. That's why I apologize. But we have pretty much we have the OK button. So we could just take the code here and say that we could add the button, for example, to a point using a location. So we've done this before. Okay, so how do we do this again? So we just go, we'll have to place this on, we'll have to place this using a location. Once again, a layout, we'll be getting into that soon. So all we need to do is we can use a location here. So we can do that with basically just referencing in the constructor. We can reference the OK button. We can say dot location points to new point, and we can just place it on some place on the axis like that. So I'll put a point like XY. Then here we'll have we pretty much just add, well, we could create the window size. It doesn't really need to be perfect, so we'll just have that. Then here we could have, we'll have to add the controls to add it to the controls. So we go OK button dot controls dot add. Actually, sorry, I think we just go here, controls dot add, and here we pass an OK button. Okay, that should be correct. So let me save that and run it. Sorry, I thought the code was wrong, but it wasn't. I just didn't have the button up there. Okay, so the button popped up. I'm going to click the button. It says file operation complete. I'm going to click OK. Then let me just check that the file appeared there now. Oh, nothing appeared. Yeah, actually, sorry, it did appear. So data file finally appeared. So we have the data in, so it's going down from, so remember, right line writes a new line of data on each line in the text file. So here we have 20, and on the next line 40, 60, 80, 100 going down. So why is that? So basically the reason why it's going down is because there's a loop here. So it's going to have an int array numbers streamwriter object. So it's a streamwriter object which gets instantiated here to file.createText. So for int index points to 0, index is less than numbers.length, index plus plus. So for the index points, so when the iteration starts at index 0, it's going to say output file dot write line. So it's going to write to the file the numbers array of array index. Index is going to be 0 during the first iteration. So it's going to go to the array and write the data. Every time the write line executes, it starts at the top left of the data file, writes the data, and when you call it the second time, it goes to a new line, because it prints a new line at the end. I think so you can just use write to continue without moving to a new line. But for iteration 0 in that case, then I'll show you what the data file looks like. So let me just copy the data so that you can pretend that you can see the file. So it just looks like this. So the numbers are, this is a data file right here. So it's just the numbers are going down from the top and then down from the top left to about like a quarter down or whatever. So in iteration 0, 20 gets printed like that. Then it goes to the bottom, curly bracket loops back up, checks the condition. So now 0 is gonna iterate from, it's gonna add 1, so 0 plus 1. So now index points to 1. So now it's saying, well, 1 is still less than numbers.length. So what's the length again? The length is 5. So while 1 is less than 5, is 1 less than 5? That's true. So then it's going to enter the loop here. Then it's going to say, okay, well, output file dot write line here. Now it's going to write line numbers of array index. What index are we on? We're on index 1. So it's going to go to the array, go from index 0 to the next index 1. Then it's going to print the data file, the data at that index. Because of the index, we're accessing the index of the array. We could have called index I or whatever, val, whatever. But because there's array brackets here, square brackets, that means it's accessing the index. So we're going to pass 1 into the index, and it's going to retrieve us 40. It's going to print that to the data file. It's going to look like that. Right there, 40. That's going to get printed. And then it's going to go to the bottom of the loop back up here. Now the index is going to, basically just add 1 to itself, so it'll become 2. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So now for index points to 2, index is less, or 2 is less than 5. 2 plus plus. Then write. Then it's going to write to the file numbers of array index. So now index is 2. So it's going to get numbers of array index 2, which equals 60. It points to the value 60. 60 gets printed to the file, and that continues to 100. Then the file stream closes, and the message box, so a dialog box appears on the screen. It says file operation complete. Like a pop-up window, you click OK, that's it. So that's pretty much just the example. So let's just go back to where I was. Sorry about that, lost the spot. Okay, sorry, so we were at working with files and arrays. So we'll probably just end it there. Let me just check if there's anything more to do in this example. We'll probably do a reading data from a file example. So that was writing data to a file. So in the next example, we'll do reading data from this same file. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like the video, you can like and subscribe to to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. In the next video, we'll be accessing this file. So instead of writing to this file using an output file, we'll read using an input file back to a string. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.